jebać was!
Jest Żyżka, jest Boguta. Znowu się w niego wcielamy.
Come now, father. Put a little life into your dying. Seen more cheerful priests at funerals.
I'd rather be at one than here. I hoped I'd never see this fortress again in my life.
Unpleasant memories?
You have no idea. I didn't part ways with my father on entirely good terms. 20 years ago.
And now you're 2 decades older and wiser. At your Ujit's parish, you spread the word of God to your flock, and you saved my neck and Henry's too. I'd say your father should be proud of you.
None of that matters.
Who knows? Maybe that 20 years has changed a thing.
You know what? Let's drop the subject.
A to usta dziwnie wyglądają, to oświetlenie jakoś tak. Coś tu jest nie tak.
Do you know any of the guests here?
Most of them I'm seeing for the first time in my life. It's a pretty varied company. We've had bandits, nobles, burghers, a priest, and even a rabbi coming together here. It's like the start of some joke.
Wait a moment. Rabbi, you say? The Kuttenberg rabbi?
Yeah, he came with a retinue. But for now, they keep him mostly to themselves. Maybe you should go and welcome some of them. After all, this used to be your home. And you're a spiritual man too, so you should have something in common.
I wouldn't be too sure. But I suppose I can try. How does it feel to breathe free air?
What can I say? You can never truly appreciate freedom until someone locks you up for a while.
Or until you become a priest?
No fear of that in my case. I intend to enjoy life to the full. Wine, women, and song.
Who's that French fellow you brought here from Malachov?
The great Baron Brabant. Been everywhere, knows everything, and has the keys to half the kingdom. He's got more fairy tales than my old nanny.
Can he be trusted?
He's a blabbermouth, but a harmless one. Besides, he defended Kuttenberg, and you know how that went. If he were on Sigismund's side, he'd hardly have been locked up with me.
What do you plan to do now you're a free man again?
What do you think? Get drunk, woo one of the local wenches, and wake up in the morning with no hose and a head like a church bell.
Have you perchance forgotten we're supposed to be deciding the future of the kingdom here?
I'll leave that to the older and wiser. And duller.
Dear me. I'd rather creep off into some corner with a full wineskin. But I suppose I'll have to introduce myself to the rest of the guests, eh?
Indeed you should. After all, you are one of the lords of Rabosh.
Oh, don't start with that.
In that case, you should sound out Radzig and Hanush and find out what they're actually planning.
Naprawdę jestem ciekaw, co tu twórcy zaplanowali. Ja pierdzielę. Król dosłownie nie ma pojęcia, kim jest Henryk, co on wyczynia. O, jest Żyżka. Ale nie mogę z wami pogadać. Samuel. Szlachcice. Mogę z Radzikiem pogadać na przykład. Ich tutaj w ogóle nie ma, no dobra.
Such rare guests. One wouldn't expect to find among Christians representatives of your community. I'm Godwin. My greetings to you.
Peace be with you. Neither would one expect a priest here.
How do you know I'm a priest?
It's not difficult to tell. After all, we have much in common. And we are both a little on unfamiliar ground here. I'm Yehuda, leader of the rabbinical court in the sacred community of Gutenberg. And this is Samuel.
Who would rather not be here at all? Why did we have to come here, Sadie? Can you not see everyone is staring at us?
Because we all need to help each other in this time of need. And why would they not stare when you are frowning so?
Do you want to make use of the council to improve the status of Jews in the city?
Not at all. However, we would like to give the council something it is sorely lacking. The situation in the town and the kingdom is unsustainable. The whole land is on the brink of destruction. You have men and weapons. We have the means to sustain them.
Why are you telling this to a Koimer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the Margrave and could...
Everything in good time, Samuel.
Did you come to lend money to the lords?
Not to lend, but to give. Help given to the needy is repaid only by God.
You don't even know if you can trust them.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead too.
Henry? That messenger of Radzik Copula?
You know each other. You're both around the same age.
That would be him. But we did not get off to a very good start.
Well, maybe you'll get to know each other better. He should be coming here later, but for a young stripling, he's been through plenty. It's not so long since his parents were killed in Skalicy. He was supposed to become a blacksmith, and instead, he's roaming the world, risking his neck at every turn.
Wait. A blacksmith, you said? From Skalicy?
Aye, that's right.
I knew of someone. A blacksmith by the name of Martin.
My daughter knew him most, and that is why Samuel is in this world, for our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father, but he certainly didn't act like one. Ma raised me on her own.
And that was all for the best.
Why? He should have taken care of me, but instead he fathered another bastard.
Don't make hasty judgments. As far as I know, Martin didn't have any other children. At least, none of his own. He took in Henry and raised him as his own on the orders of the Lord of Skalicy, Sir Radzik Copula, Henry's real father.
I don't care if he took care of 20 other mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like yours did to you.
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry only found out about it recently.
Enough. I'd rather have a drink.
For that, there will be more suitable times.
Kurde mać, ale jaja, że ten Samuel jest ojcem Marcina.
Good health.
L'chaim.
No dobra, nie pijmy za dużo. A ciekawa historia, ciekawy plot twist. Okej.
You say?
Fraternize they may. I'm glad you finally accepted my invitation. I almost lost all hope.
Z kim to mogę pogadać?
Good health to you, sir. I'm Godwin, a friend of that lad you arrived with, Henry. We don't know each other.
Baron Vauquelin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also, à ma manière, a poet.
My word. Isn't that exhausting?
Mais non! And I'm glad to meet a new friend.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Baron. I knew right away we'd hit it off.
Okej.
You say you're a poet? How about a verse or two to...
Jamais! Is poetry nothing but a fuss to you? Is a poet a gesture for amusement? I think not. To recite, I require the proper mood. And besides, few here would understand me.
Okej. Jest realistą.
How did you end up imprisoned in Mal...
Ah, c'est une histoire compliquée. It was after I heroically led the defense of Gothenburg and only lost it narrowly by an unfortunate turn of events.
That needs some explanation.
Oh, misère. It is clear you have never been to war.
You're quite mistaken, Monsieur Baron. I have.
Ah, je suis désolé. This Bohemia is a strange land. I have seen farmhands, children, and even women fighting. But the clergy? Sainte Mère, do tell me about it. No doubt you fought on the side of truth and honor.
My last big battle was in Kosovo.
I've heard of this battle. Many great men fell there.
Aye. And it was there I decided it was nothing for me. So I settled down in the presbytery in Ujits.
Then, what are you doing here at a meeting of opponents of the crown?
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. How come almost nobody here knows you?
I am operating, as they say. Incognito. My great benefit is my strong connection with there. Everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia, I'm still building my reputation, slowly, but surely.
Where have you been on your travels?
But of course! I was born by the sea. If you are interested in my greatest journeys, then I have traveled with a merchant caravan all the way to the Ottoman Empire. And if you are interested in my greatest deed, then that was perhaps saving the life of the King of France.
And you wouldn't by any chance know the Pope, personally?
Which one do you mean? I spoke briefly with Boniface IX when I was sojourning in Rome. A pleasant fellow.
Ciekawie. Jest i chart.
Dear friends and allies, in these troublesome times, you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here, too, he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess.
Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing?
Do you have news? I'm not going to die.
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Okej.
Well, that went just as expected. Good health.
And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst of all. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein.
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering.
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
Okej.
As it happens, I've got nothing better to do anyway.
Excellent. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings.
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the council. But I have an idea how to change that.
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes. But we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre.
Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves. But he won't engage in equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary. For the plan to work, we just...
Are you saying you said...
More like in, if we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
Okej.
You've got an interesting way of approaching things.
You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment.
Why are you doing all this?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
I'll help you.
I'll give you 3 names. Bocek of Kunstadt, Haman Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
I'll get on it then.
I wish us both luck.
I'd rather discuss those alliances sober.
No, bez kitu. Dobra, co dalej?
God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Job's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the 2 of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
Hit the nail on the head again, Mom. You're well informed.
I am rarely mistaken.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine. And beneficial deals.
Then you're in the right place. This occasion provides all of those things.
The wine here is average. So, to the point. What?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help?
You manage large estates. In return for your generosity, we offer you protection.
I've managed quite well up to now, if you want me to support you.
Do you have something in particular in...
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get into the wrong hands.
Who's that?
Haman Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
And these papers I'm supposed to switch?
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between myself and some...
You were dealing with the enemy.
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear, but I'll rest easier when those papers are in my hands.
All right, I'll help you.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed. Bring them to me, but watch yourself. Odorin's groom has eyes everywhere.
Kurde, jaka misja się tu zrobiła.
I'll tell you, nobody has the likes of these.
Not even Bocek?
Not even Bocek, and he's great.
Dobra, ja bym chętnie pogadał, ale trzeba wyjść. Tutaj w Wiłkach, tak?
What brings you here? Don't you want to leave already?
Okej, idę.
To raise a small army. He caused us a shitload of trouble.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here. Let's rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. As it happens, there's something I'd like to ask you. I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest.
Szkoda, że kurde, jako Henryk nie rozmawiamy teraz z Radzikiem. Ciekawe byłyby dialogi.
What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
Well, I have no great expectation, but, all going well, we may be able to establish some joint steps towards, as long as we proceed without prior agreement and mutual support, we will be very unlikely to achieve any progress.
Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with child. No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
As they say, doesn't matter who kneaded the dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well, it could be a miracle. Praise the Lord!
Okej, ciekawie.
May I have a word with you, sir?
You? Anytime. With you, at least, there's some sensible conversation, unlike this pack of conceited upstarts.
To też jest dobra postać.
Young Lord Capon is finally free again. Let's hope he'll take better care of himself.
He got a harsh lesson, but at least he might remember to lay off that tomfool. But if not, war will make a man of him soon enough.
Do you think there's really going to be a war? I mean a proper one, not just sitting around and talking about it.
I sincerely hope so. Whoever sits around risks nothing. It's time to get off our asses and take action.
Okej. Podoba mi się w ogóle jego nowy outfit, ta nowa zbroja. Dobrze działa na niego.
Have you got something against the Kuttenberg?
Their forefathers lived up to their ears in dung. But thanks to the royal mines, they were born with silver spoons up there, and they think that can turn their blood blue.
But surely they're not all like that.
Allies or not, someone ought to show them their place.
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly, and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
Z czartem nie pogadamy. No cóż, nie przeszkadzam wam, panowie. Są strażnicy, to nie będę im przeszkadzać.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
Lady, with all the clamour going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady.
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
How could I refuse a toast with such a fine lady?
And to the success of our efforts.
Okej, jak się raz napije Bogu, to się nic nie stanie.
I'd like to check your horses out and see if they're as good as you say.
Ha, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it by your leave. Or to harass my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Older.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up then. What are you doing here?
Kurde.
I came with a delegation from Sir Hanush of Lipa.
Is this a joke?
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him.
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our home.
You're exaggerating, like you've always done.
Me? Exaggerating? You're the one who turned my home into a house of ill repute. Your whores wandering around as if they owned the place.
Oh, actually, anything fun was strictly banned under your roof. But maybe you ought to try it yourself sometime. Then maybe you wouldn't be such a bitter old grouch.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough!
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
I'm not happy about it, but I accept. This isn't how I imagined my first meeting with my brother.
O kurde.
We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back! Did they teach you that in the seminary?
Forgive me, Lord, for what I do. Swing with your whole arm, not just your wrist. You don't know the end of that thing is up. Left arm lower. You're a dead man. You know that.
Not bad for a priest.
Cover your right side. You've got a gap there I can drive a cart through.
Did they teach you that in the seminary?
Look in my eyes, not at my sword. I might be old,
Not bad for a priest.
but I'm not written up. Stand firm. Otherwise, the first strike will put you on your arse. God be with you.
Ale go opierdzielał.
My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. But you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war, right after they kicked me out of the Archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Aye. Well, I apologize for going off like that.
So Father would be satisfied. I know, only he'll never be satisfied. The sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nipper. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first head.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder?
Aye. The outcome of this war depends on it.
That sounds very important, considering you and Alder are both pretty small players. After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do then?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me and tell me what it's all about.
All right then. You've heard Job's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that wrong.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother.
Proszę, jakoś musimy powoli nawiązać te więzi rodzinne. Dobra. Jeszcze jeden, tak? Strażnicy.
You seem a bit out of sorts.
Oh, these grand aristocratic assemblies are nothing for me. I'd be happier if they just told me in the morning how it all went and what my boys have to do next.
But then you'd miss all the grub and the booze. And the gossip.
Oh, and have you heard anything interesting?
A lot of people think the wealthy burghers will stick with whether out of fear or convenience.
Well, that's to be expected. As long as Sigismund has the city council under his thumb, no one will rock the boat.
Well, at least there's a few individuals here, like Ruthard.
Sigismund confiscated his castle and half his estates. That'd be enough to make a man mad. Not to mention that his son was killed in the siege of the city.
It seems Liechtenstein's looking for allies. For his own ends.
And how's he gonna do it? Didn't you see them all fighting tooth and nail here?
Well, different approaches work with different...
The only approach that'll work with Sigismund is open resistance. Maybe on the field of battle?
Let's hope young Lord Capon manages to stay free for a while longer. Ever since leaving Rattay, he's gone from one pile of trouble to another.
That's one thing you can always count on him for. I'll gladly wager with you he'll end up in some other shit by evening.
God forbid. Henry's not here now to pull him out of it.
In that case, it'll be up to you. I'm sure you wouldn't leave him to disgrace himself in front of Hanush.
Zobaczymy.
Good day to you.
A, kości. Nie będziemy grać w kości teraz. Będziemy raczej szukać... No. Teraz nie pogadamy.
I'll have a jug of wine.
Czekajcie, co? Boczek z kunsztatu.
One beer.
Bottoms up!
But still you are.
Sir Boczek, I need to speak with you.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea. Jobs comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men at arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men at arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, We need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money.
Don't worry, it's not just your money I want to draw on. Believe it or not, we've gained other patrons for our cause too.
Really? Name at least one of those lunatics then.
Anna of Volstein.
Truly? Well, let's see about
I wouldn't mention the word lunatic.
All right, let's discuss it. Candidly. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you...
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept.
How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
He may be young, but he's got something between his ears. He's got battle experience. And when he gets the estate that's his by right, he'll be well secured for life.
If he gets it. Right now, Hanush lords over Rattay and seems quite happy with that state. On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on. Just maybe it's not such a bad idea.
So, will you support our plan?
You're selling the skin of a boar that's still grunt. First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take place as soon as possible.
And what if Lord Capon refuses?
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty...
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice.
O kurde.
Take a look at that. A nightingale surrounded by hawks.
Job's the nightingale. He looks more like a wet hen to me.
It's quite unusual to see him cornered like this.
I'll bet my last groschen he's setting the stage for his final performance. I hope there'll be no singing. I've had a few nightingales and they all screeched like the devil.
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? By Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to stay. How the hell did you do it?
Well, there's one little catch. I had to promise him... I don't even know how to begin.
Out with it.
Lord Kunstadt has a niece, so... I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstadt. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's niece. If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Cheers!
Cheers to you!
Okej. No w sumie tego można było się spodziewać. Taka szkoda jedna ptaszka, ale z drugiej strony i tak kolej każdą dziewkę obraca, więc taka jedna na stałe. Trochę źle to zabrzmiało, wiem, przepraszam.
Sir Bocek.
So Hanush agreed.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstadt.
Enough formality.
Cheers to the beautiful Lady Yitka and the unhappy Lord Capon.
Here's to a good bargain.
I'm still hoping hoping it works out and we walk out of here with a clear plan. But maybe you were right. It was probably not the best idea to gather all the lords under one roof.
At other times, I would celebrate hearing you admit a mistake, Margrave. But if I were you, I wouldn't lose faith just yet. Sometimes all you need to do is send the right man to whisper the right words into the right ears.
You mean you managed to convince someone?
Hey, innkeeper, that beer?
Someone influential?
Not at all. I managed nothing. But I have found someone who could pull a thorn out of our side and get some influential people to join our cause.
And who is this secret envoy of yours? I'm still hoping it works out and we walk out of here with a clear plan.
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstad will support our cause.
Both of them? Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me.
Uh-huh.
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes! And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslas, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Oj, oj.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas!
Oby tak było. Jezu, chcę zobaczyć perspektywę Henryka. O, pan ptaszek w szoku. Oho, doczekałem się. Jezu, te cutscenki są piękne.
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wencesla's side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Markwarta, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rebel get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylanders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants! Chicken shits! Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
And drunks! Give them hell! Lazy fools, the lot of them.
How dare you?
Some of you are even swelling right here in the city council meeting. This is unbelievable.
Remove this swill pot from the hall immediately.
I'm telling the truth. This whole council is a farce. The whole city knows it.
Lord of Zajdziecie, your insolence just cost you your place on the council and a month in the dungeon.
But...
Hopefully that'll be enough for him to sober up. And if not, put him in the pillory for a while, bailiff.
I'll see to it as soon as the council is over, Your Majesty.
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore place the city council under the authority of Sir Markwarta von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Markwarta von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Markwarta, was I not perhaps too harsh on you? And speak candidly, we have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the king's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine. The monks had a good year. We have concerns, friend. The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago. Thank you. It is a good year. If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of Wenceslas' reign brought to us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin, and the rest will fall in line.
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing on every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
We'll find out soon enough, sire.
If only Wenceslas were not such a stubborn ass, and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of him.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace, at least among themselves. Jobs does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty. Pour me some of that red, boy.
I think Jobs is just waiting for the right moment. He'll switch sides when it suits him.
Maybe. But first I'll have to conquer a few more cities. And get a couple more lords on my side. Then they take the threat of war seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp's nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is good here. To your health, Markwarta. And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in a land ruled by a good king. You did a good job, waiter. You can be proud of yourself.
To your health, your majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the consul was meeting, Otto von Berghoff and his men set out for Rabosch. Odorin won't give you any more trouble.
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Odorin, we can handle Ruthard easily. Rabosch will be yours. After all, Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine, boy.
No. We shall have white. We have had enough of red.
White it is. Quickly! If Repoche falls, others will follow.
I think von Berghoff.
Chyba.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town hall too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
O chuj.
It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
To bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary.
Ale to zjebałem.
Councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
Gods, throw him out. Send someone who can pull one.
What kind of a donkey have they sent me? Are you only deaf? I've never been so ashamed in my life. Get out.
Och. Pospieszyłem się.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town hall too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
But to bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see. Soon we will drink to the conquest of another fortress.
You are right. So then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's, and those of the future.
O cholera. Ale ja. Nie no, w szoku jestem, co tu się odwala. Henryczek chyba na przyjęcie nie dotrze, co? O chuj.
Now we close our doors for the evening. People here know what to do. There'll be plenty more tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday too.
You in need of something, my well. I'd like to drink a toast with you to our joint success. As they say, all's well that ends well. So, to brighter tomorrow. Touching. Come now. What's become of your poetic soul?
I never had one.
Truly?
Not a bit. I'm just a cynical old pragmatist.
In that case, in quite simple and pragmatic terms, the wine has run out.
Fuck. I've got a tongue like a slice of weak old bread after all that.
Well, get something wet for us.
His lordship is so unsteady on his legs, he can't make it as far as the keg.
To hell with that keg slop. Your father surely has something better stored away. I had my eye on him all evening. He had pictures brought from somewhere for himself and his closest friends, and left the rest of us to drink cheap dregs. Try and find one of those pictures for us, eh? I'm sure you can manage that.
You can bet on it. I've got a nose for booze.
I don't doubt it. Get sniffing quick.
O cholera. O cholera, moi drodzy. Jestem w 3 dupy napruty.
How'd you like our wine, Chevalier?
The art of winemaking has a long tradition in La Belle France. Recipes are passed on from father to son, and each generation brings them to perfection. I myself was practically raised on wine. How many I have tasted? Even the French royal court took note of my refined taste. The king himself had wine delivered for his table according to my advice.
So you're not too keen on our stuff?
Comment dire? Let us say you still have much work ahead. If you try hard, you may have some decent wine to celebrate the second coming of Christ.
Okej.
Give me 100 knives in
Idziemy za tym winem. Ciekawe mnie pozycja na ptaszka. Pewnie on będzie chciał chlać dużo.
Having a good time? It's a fucking bore. These old farts here have no idea what fun is. Well, what are you missing? I'd rather have a game of dice. Or a good punch-up.
Ty, może wykorzystamy to.
And let's drink to the future of Lady Yitka.
How come you're still here, sir?
All hail Jobst! He sorted out things here nicely. He got my money for a start, and that's more than I wanted to give. But you know how it goes. Give them a finger. I explained to the Margrave that I'm not going anywhere, and I sent my captain with him. He's still young and full of piss and I'm too old and fond of my
Did you at least discuss with Hanus where the wedding will take place?
Nothing to discuss. It'll be at our castle Potstein, of course. It's the pride of our family.
Ah, but there are 2 castles in Rattay. I'd bet my right arm old Hanus will want to have the wedding there.
What? In Rattay? Well, I ought to look into that then.
But deal with him yourself, though. I won't be your gent's messenger anymore.
Have you ever thought about getting married again? It would make a lot of things easier for you.
And how should I interpret this question?
In the simplest terms, I'm offering you a business deal.
Greetings to you, friend. Igi tu qui desidera partem. Prepare.
Okej.
Sure.
Ja nie chciałem się z nim napierdalać, no.
Let's make it 50 groschen to Nice. If I'd known you had that kind of coin on you, I'd have pinched it long ago.
O jest. Ja tu nic nie widzę. Ja tu nic kurwa nie widzę. O chuj, jestem w dupie. O nie. To są 2. O. Nie wierzę, ja tu nic nie widzę. Kurwa. O chuj. Dobra, przejebię to. Uff. Nie wierzę, co tu się dzieje w ogóle. Jestem w szoku. Czy on papiejaku ma takiego farta, czy mi się wydaje? To naprawdę rządzi z tymi swoimi specjalnymi perkami. O nie. O cholera. No to nieźle. Nie będzie prosta robota. Ryzyko. Będzie skucha? Nie. Nie, nie wierzę. No i dostaliśmy w pierdol. Poguta, przestań. Ach. Nie tym razem, co?
Vouch for me.
I see 4 hooves.
Dobra, jakiego mamy questa?
It's a horse. But if you've got a different idea about a horse is, then we'll have to discuss it.
Of course it's a horse.
Gdzie są te kurwa cpane wina? To co białe?
Everybody likes a drop of white.
Now there's a piece of horseflesh for you, Rootheart. Not like that nag of yours.
What the hell do you beat it with? It looks more like a damn bull.
Sir! Sir! There's some horsemen right out front of the fortress.
Ah, that's Peter of Pisac. Wouldn't come to the council, but he is coming happily to this celebration, you old fox.
O cholera.
Come on in, sir. There's wine aplenty.
Kto to jest, kurwa? Berkow, Jezu.
Hey! Hey! Intruders! Enemies at the gates!
Seize the nobles! Kill the rest!
O cholera, powiem o panów zaraz, ja pierdzielę.
Make it on his own.
You won't be able to take another one like that. Send my greetings to the
I'm going to finish you. Raise him up! You nearly knocked him out! Block off!
Didn't see that coming, eh?
Come on! Show what you're made of! Blood! Yeah!
No nie.
Go find yourself! Now you'll die! Blood! Yeah!
made of?
Drive those horses out!
O cholera jasna. Kto to jedzie? Henryk, na ratunek. Ja pierdzielę, co tu się wydarzyło? Wiedziałem, że coś się odjebie.
Quick! Go!
Whoa! You led him on nicely.
Cholera.
Sort you out nicely.
Hey! Get him!
O cholera.
Show what you're made of!
No, you... No mercy!
Gin, szmaciarzu.
Victory! Nice!
Help me with it!
Don't be talking, sorry. Oh, for glory! Thank you.
Co tu się odwaliło?
A close shave.
A little too close. Fuck me. Do my eyes deceive me? Henry!
Godwin!
How did you get...
Damn. I can't tell you how happy I am to see you. You turned up at just the right moment.
Is everyone alright?
Well, some are, some aren't.
They captured Oder and Kunstad and Rutard. And they took Alder and Conrad of Vector away too.
They wanted to slay the rest like dogs.
What about my father? And Hanush?
They left with Yobs long before that. I'm sure they're all right, but not everyone was so lucky.
Kurde mać.
What happened, Godwin? Who died?
My younger brother, Christopher. You've known him for half a day, so what?
Shut up!
Look, leave him be. He's right. I just met my brother. Only to lose him again.
Kurde mać, nie skupiłem się na tym wątku, nie, po prostu walczyłem, a to kurde jeszcze było takie ukryte poboczne zadanie, ajajaj, żałuję tego. Kurde.
You'll have a chance to get back at them. You'll see.
And who will that help? Christopher? Me, so I can sleep at night? I don't think so.
But as for your father, you could...
Well, he's the one who ordered opening the gates to those murderers. Oh, he can rot for all I care.
Old grievances aside, Odorin is an ally, the same as Rutard and Bocek.
Oh, they all have their quirks. Cousin Bocek's a money-grabbing magpie. But I wouldn't give up on the fucker either.
We'll have to wait for the other side's move anyway. We don't even know where von Berkow took them.
I tried to come as soon as possible and warn you, but von Bergov's people beat me here.
You knew he was coming.
Markwarta bragged about it to Sigismund, and Sigismund promised to make him Lord of Raborsh in return.
When he sees what von Bergow did with it, he'll shit himself.
You find that funny? Do you like watching those foreigner dogs rampaging around and slaughtering innocents? Who else has to die before we do something about...
Tell us about it. We were neck deep in corpses before you bothered to turn up.
Well, not you.
Fuck you, Jan. I'd trade places with you in a heartbeat, trust me.
We've lost a lot of allies. We'll have trouble finding new ones. They'll be afraid to even peep against Sigismund.
Well, are you surprised? Look around. Sigismund showed everyone what's coming for all who resist him.
Is there anything we can do?
Definitely not right now. We'll treat the wounded, bury the dead, get the hell out of here. Then we'll hide in the Devil's Den and wait for Jobst and his army.
If I survive the journey... Oh, God's teeth. That stupid nag nearly broke me in half.
The king announced one more thing at the council. He asked the councillors to ransack the Jewish quarter. That is, he ordered it, more like.
Fuck! Liechtenstein's got his people there. They could reveal a lot.
The city rabbi is sitting upstairs in the hall. At least he's safe here.
They're our allies. We have to help them.
What do you mean by we? Everyone here is lucky to be still breathing. I can just see them all jumping to their feet and rush to save their poor Jews.
Maybe Samuel will figure something out. He wanted to talk to you anyway.
He's here too?
Aye, escorting the rabbi. You should go and see them as soon as possible. And tell Liechtenstein too.
Anyway, we've got work to do. Godwin?
Give me a moment. I'll go and see Christopher first.
O kurde. Co się kurwa stało? Nie mam słów. Kurde, szkoda mi tego brata. Mam ochotę cofnąć save'a, ale nie. Jak się aż tak nie bawimy. Aż tak się nie bawimy, moi drodzy. Chcę żyć z konsekwencjami. Nie najgorsze pancerze posiadali. No cóż, przynajmniej dobre łupy.
Come here.
life, and they'd never do anything like that. No. Only men do such things.
You did.
You wanted to talk to me?
I did.
Just tell him. You may not get another chance.
I talked to Godwin. He said you know each other?
What did you talk about?
We talked about your stepfather, Martin.
Why? Neither of you knew him.
It's true, I did not. But I tried many times. Remember how I stared at your sword when we first met? I recognized the Master's symbol engraved there. Well, the thing is, I am Martin's son.
What? Pa's son? How did...
Yes, his son. That is, his bastard son.
Are you sure? We look the same age, and Martin lived with me and Ma as long as I can remember.
When I was born, he was already long gone. Maybe we are not even a year apart.
And what does that make us then?
Nothing. Proof perhaps that both your god and mine have a sense of humor. You know, all my life, I thought if I did not give a shit about that man, but now that I know I will never see him, it troubles me that I did not get to...
I can tell you about him if you want. But now is not the right time. This is not the end. We have to go to Kuttenberg, now. Sigismund ordered confiscation of the property of people in the Jewish quarter.
The king has approved Gdzie.
He's no king to me. He's a fucking whoreson.
What's a Gdzie?
That is hard to explain.
Nonsense. It is as clear as day. Christians set out to kill our people. Innocent and often defenseless. Ransack their houses and divide the loot. And all that with the king's blessing.
This is what we were afraid of. But we did not expect Sigismund to be in such a hurry. We need to get back into the city. And will you come with us, Henry? Every man counts.
I have to tell Liechtenstein, but then we'll set off right away.
Go and tell him.
What is the use of it all?
Okay. Jeszcze Liechtenstein. Jesteś tutaj na dole.
Good to see you both. Alive.
Oh, come on. You know, I've walked out of much worse scrapes laughing.
They could well have killed us all. If it hadn't been for you, Henry, von Berkhoff could have caused a lot more harm.
Von Aulitz surprised even Sigismund with that. You should have seen the look on the king's face when he told him.
Well, thank God we all survived.
Well, not all of us. Young Oderin, Anna of Volstein, and several other nobles are dead. It was slaughter.
And they captured our closest and most influential allies. Without them, we can hardly get the burghers on our side. We're stuck.
We can't give up now. It would only show Sigismund that he has nothing to fear.
Exactly. This is a test, and an opportunity to show that we stand by our allies, whatever the cost.
You're right. When I drink too much wine, I get overwhelmed with self-pity. Nevertheless, I have to admit it can't get much worse.
Actually, it might. And very soon. At Sigismund's council, an order was given to ransack the Jewish quarter.
God's wounds! We need to get back to the city and warn them.
I'm going with you.
Out of the question. Do you want to end up imprisoned again? You'll be more useful if you stay here and help Shishka. Henry, tell Samuel and the rabbi to get ready to travel. I'll try to get someone else to join.
Samuel already knows. And he's ready to go.
In that case, we'll set off immediately.
I'm going with the rest of our people to Devil's Den. So don't leave me hanging, all right? Stay strong.